All right. Give it a second. Well, you are here because I'm going to talk about simplifying building applications for Kubernetes, right? And it's very, very difficult for me to do this because Julio talked about how easy Kubernetes was earlier today, but that's neither here nor there. So, quick agenda. I'm going to try to keep this down to 20 to 25 minutes, but I like to talk. My kids and my wife will tell you that. So, let's get started. This is me. My name is Robert Sirchia. I am the head of community evangelism. I got promoted recently. I specialize in cloud native development because I was a developer for 20 years, and I like sharing what I've learned. But in case you were wondering, this isn't me, and it's okay. All right, I get it all the time. But if you want to see this movie, it's actually a good story to actually learn where Sriracha came from. So to get started, I want to set some context about what I want to talk about. And there's two things I want to talk about. Are you building applications for Kubernetes or in Kubernetes, right? Because those are two different things, right? So if I look at it, if you're building applications for Kubernetes, you're doing stuff like Longhorn, Cilium, inlets. There's a list of them. In fact, if you go to landscape.cncf.io, you can see all of them. And that's what engineers do. They do a fantastic job of building applications for Kubernetes. But I'm going to talk about building applications in Kubernetes. And these are developers, right? People who solve business problems with code. They containerize their app. And it's not saying that they can't cross over. And if you've done one, you can't do the other. That's not what it is. But we're just going to focus on that to set the context, building apps in Kubernetes. Some secrets about Kubernetes. It's complex. I'm not going to lie to you, it's complex. We have hundreds of tools to try to make it easier, thousands of hours of courses. I know I put some of them on, and it's still complex. And I still learn things about Kubernetes to this day. So let's talk about how much you really should know, right? And anecdotally, your mileage may vary, but if you're an operator or an engineer building apps for Kubernetes, you're probably going to want to have a deeper knowledge, right? But if you're a developer, right, you got other things to worry about. You should know Java, right? You should be able to write some great code. You probably need to know Kafka. You better know something about authorization or IAM. And you got to throw databases in there as well. You have a lot of other things to actually worry about. It's not just worrying about that operator levels. And on top of that, you got to worry about your business, right? The company you work for. You're pretty much an expert. If you work for a library science company, you better know something about libraries, right? And how that works. Anyone know what the Dewey Decimal System is anymore? My wife works for a library company. I was like, I don't even know what that is. So, deep knowledge for those individuals who are building apps for Kubernetes or operators, but I like to say just enough, right? So as a developer, how much do you really need to know? How much do you want to know? Right? And I just say, well, just enough to do your job. So I want to talk about environments because this is something that I see not only customers, but community members where I work. They do this quite frequently when they're modernizing their applications to go into Kubernetes, right? And the first thing I want to talk about is your shared development environment. Don't be that person. Don't be the person to start putting things out there, breaking down the monolith because you lock up your development environment for everybody else. That should be something almost sacred, right? It's your push to that next environment. A local Kubernetes if possible. Now, I'm not pushing Rancher Desktop, but it's great. But I also have Podman Desktop here as well. I've used both. Use a local distribution. Why? If you mess up, you can just start over. You can reset Kubernetes, and you're not reinstalling it. Where you would spend a lot of time doing it, have something that gives you the ability to, just reset it, right? And both of these products allow you to do that. And helming back is very, very, very important. And why I say that is, I've talked to customers, I've talked to community members, and I'll hold office hours, and they'll get this conversation going about, hey, I'm still trying to do this, but I don't have it If you can mimic your developer environment, your dev environment to your local machine, do it as much as possible and use those shared resources as you have. Now, you might not be able to do everything and you might have to point something out, but have something as close to your development environment as possible running locally. Now, you're not going to get everything. You're not going to get all the data, I get it, but if there's a way to do this, this saves time in developing. Now, when it comes to developing, we think to ourselves, can we make this easier, right? Is there something that we can put in place as a developer? I don't want to know Kubernetes because ask a front-end developer, do they care about Kubernetes? No. I showed up for a JavaScript conference and I was talking Kubernetes and not a single soul there actually cared. And I was upset because they didn't care. I was like, how do you guys not love this as much as I do? And they're like, well, as long as it works in every browser, that's all we care about. So yeah, it was rough. So we talked about this just enough model, right? Like just enough about Kubernetes to actually care. But if there was something that we can do, right, that we can just make it somewhat easier, like can we put something in there to make it where developers just care about an easier interface and it takes their code, throws it up there and works. Who remembers Pivotal? Anybody? Like we got people who actually remember Pivotal. You guys remember that CF push? Like you just like any developer, you're like, wow, in the cloud, just like one line. We're going to show you something like that. So the icon you're seeing here is Epinio, right? And Epinio is an open source product, right? And it turns Kubernetes, well, somewhat into a PaaS, right? It packages up your code and it allows you to not have to worry about containerizing, not have to worry about a lot of things that just CF push it and it's there. Well, we don't call it CF because, well, it would be confusing, but we do call it Epinio push, right? So let's talk about how that works. Well, we have our Kubernetes cluster, right? Install a lightweight installation of Epinio. And what Epinio does, it goes out and from either a registry, a Git repository, even your local code files, it pulls that in, builds, containerizes, and deploys your application for you. And it worries about somewhat of the networking, but if it's on like Rancher desktop, it kind of does it for you. And I'll show you that in our demo, right? So let's see how that looks. Animation didn't work. So you're developing, these are the aspects that you're working on, right? And you can have your local development environment, and I wasn't sure if I could put the Civo Cloud logo here. Like I didn't get permission, so that's supposed to be Civo Cloud, but I didn't know, like what I didn't want to do is just have someone yell at me. I was like, I don't know if I can do that, but okay. But you can you can work locally, you can deploy, you can test, you can attach to and debug through the container itself with Epinio all locally. But the cool part is that if you're going into dev, that actually works, right? Where you can use Epinio to deploy to both. Now, most operators are probably not going to like this, but you can do it. And it gives you the opportunity to do just that, right? Where you can pull your code, it deploys it for you, and it works. And it's the same deployment process. So when they say, it works on my machine, no, it really does. It worked on my machine. I used Epinio to just deploy it for me. And you can integrate this with Jenkins and call it. And right there with Epinio, it's doing all of that package for you. Now, Epinio is vast, it's deep. When the product first came around, it was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I work for SUSE. And we have Rancher there too. It was rough, but it's now polished very, very, very well. So I wasn't expecting it to hold a mic, but we're gonna try to do a demo here. The show. All right, so Epinio has something akin to CF push, but what we can do, make sure I have the right one. is I can show the app, and it has a very nice command line interface that you can go and do everything that you need to do. But just like everything, I like a GUI, you like a GUI, who doesn't like a GUI? There's a full GUI interface with it, right? And when you set up Epinio, especially on your local workstation, I'm using SSLIP to do it. But I'm able to use the web interface, or I can use, well, I guess the command line. So if you're that Vim user who wants to use everything from the command line, God bless you. But I'm not that person. So what we can, to do that, we have a simple app, right? And let's see if I can just cat. Really, really simple app. It's PHP info. And if any of the web developers out there would know what that means, that's great. But we can deploy it. And we're going to give it a new name. We're going to call it new sample. Now, it's going to take a fat minute to do it, and I didn't realize you guys can't see it, and I apologize. That's terrible. Okay. So what this is doing is it's going out, it's grabbing that file, it's parsing it, it's telling it, Epinio's figuring out what it is, what it needs. It knows to go out and get a Paqueta build pack for PHP, and I'm hoping the internet here is fast enough to do this, because the test one I did downstairs, or back in the other one, it actually moved those. So now it's going back out there, and it's pulling all of the information it needs to build this application, all running via Rancher Desktop. So I'll go here, I can show you. Epinio's there running, and go to the dashboard here real quick while that's taking a fat minute, and I can show you that Epinio, the cert manager that it needs, is all out there running with a handful of other things that tie into what Rancher Desktop needs. Let's go back to this command line. It's going out, it's figuring out what it needs, it's building everything, it's detecting, it's doing its analyzing, and it will come in and deploy it for you. Now it's not going as fast as I wanted, but it is 2 of 9. I was going to walk over there, but I didn't have my mic. It's at 2 of 9. It should be done here in a few more minutes. Here in the GUI itself, you can actually see what it's going on, and it's running, it's doing its thing. But I actually have a sample that's running already, and then just for time purposes, I want to make sure I don't do that. But if I go to that URL, that's PHP info. And what Epinio has done is it's gone out there, it's done everything I need to do to build this application, containerize it, throw it into Kubernetes. It gives me a nice, cute route, right? Sample.127.0.0.1.sslip.io, and it works. Now, when the next one comes on, it's literally the same app, I'm just calling it something different. It'll give it a new route for you. And so as you're building, you can literally start decomposing that monolith, doing any type of your local development right here with Epinio, and it saves you from having to worry about it. And the only thing I ran was literally Epinio, I think it was Epinio push. I remember the commands. There it is. Epinio push, I gave it a name, I gave it a path of where my code was at, and it can do it. Now, it can also pull from a registry. It also can pull from GitHub as well and do this as well. There's different flags that will give you that ability to do such a thing. Let's see if it's done. No, it's taking longer than I thought, but that's quite all right.
So the source code files might give you an olive branch for that to actually hurry up. But
yeah.
The source code files is just that, I guess, a video is running some sort of make or whatever that, like go build or make.
Yep.
Whatever that is, and then where is it pushing that container image? Just local?
No, it's pushing that image. It's building the image and it's pushing it right into Rancher Desktop, running on the. Okay, so, yeah. So it does all of that behind the scenes. I know they're going to ask me, like, how did you not know how it works behind the scenes? Because I don't care. Like, I don't. And I don't want to talk, like, I don't want people to care about it because it just works. But I appreciate the olive branch over there. But again, it's It's taken a lot longer. This was in the main hallway, the internet was faster, and this took like literally a minute and a half, and we're going on 3. Any other questions? Why we wait for this? No one? Go ahead.
Do you have to use build packs?
It does use build packs. It uses the Paketo build packs underneath. That one. All right. Well, I do apologize for this taking longer than I wanted, but we'll go back to the presentation mode and I will show you. I do not have these slides online. I will get them out to everybody over at the Civo side. If you want to know more about it, I'm at Robert Sirch on Twitter. Rancher Labs is where we post and we talk more about Epinio and some of the other projects that we're doing. We have a Slack channel for more information, but the website for Epinio is epinio.io, and I'm kind of hoping we can be done for this demo.
They have great docs too.
I'm not plugging your docs. I'm not. And Nuno over here is the gentleman who writes the docs, which I actually double-checked and followed them very to a T to make sure that this works. But I apologize for my demo taking longer to deploy than possible. All right, thanks everybody.